Hey everyone, arebelspy here, bringing you Shadow Era commentary number 15. This is a Gwen versus Serena game, and I'm sorry for so many rogue game recently. If you don't want to watch this, turn it off, I understand. I actually had done the Rogue vs. Mage challenge, and then I wanted to give rogues a fair shake, so I built that Lance deck that I did in commentary 13 and played that game with it and cast it, and I was like, alright, I'm done. I got that out of the way. I'm not going to do any more rogues, And then I played against this Serena deck. I'm the Gwen player here. I played against this Serena deck, and it actually it's rogue, so it's not that good. But the player I was playing against actually did quite decently, and it was quite a fun and interesting game. One of the best I've had against a rogue deck. Normally, you just kind of roll them, and they don't draw enough cards, and they just kind of play a couple human allies out, and you just kind of kill them and win the game, and you're just like, okay, that wasn't interesting or fun at all. But this game actually was, and so I was like, all right, fine, I'm gonna go ahead and cast this, even though I know people are gonna complain about, oh, why are we watching more bad decks? And okay, I get rogues are bad. I'm with you on that, but just indulge me for a minute because this game was kind of interesting. So. He is playing Serena, and he drops a Puin for his 2-drop, and I retreat that back to his hand, because I probably just had a Blake or a retreat, and so he drops an Alden, and I drop a Jasmine. Kind of standard so far. And he drops out a throwing knife, which is going to let him hit my Jasmine, and I can't retaliate because that's what it does, and kill my Jasmine with his Alden. So he's got some early board control, but no big deal. I go ahead, I apparently don't have a Beetle Demon Bow for my 4-drop, and I have a retreat. So he plays an Alden and a Puin. So he's got early board control, and boom, he hits me with his knife, which lets him draw a card, because that's what his hero does. So he's going to get some decent little card draw early on with that knife, but that's okay because I know I'm playing better cards, and I'm not too worried at this point. So I drop out a Soul Seeker, and I kill his Alden, because Alden, is annoying. And I don't want him to pile up too many allies on board. I know I don't have a board wipe card playing a Hunter, and so I do go ahead and kill his Alden, because I don't want allies to pile up, and then he gets that Aeon out, and, So he does go ahead and hit me with his Puin, and I play a Rapid Fire, and that's going to let me take out his Aeon with 2 hits. I'll take his 3 damage for the first one, and then I will heal that back up with the second hit, killing him. So he's down to 2 cards, I'm down to 2 cards. We're both low in cards, but I know my cards are so much more efficient and better. Again, I'm not worried. And ideally, I'd get a Bad Santa or a Bazaar so that I could play those, because I know drawing cards is better for me than it is for him, because I have better cards to draw. But he plays an Alden here, and he poisons his blade, meaning now I'm going to start taking damage every turn, and he gets to draw an extra card. That's given him a decent little advantage here, because he already has an extra resource above me. He's at 6 to my 5, and we're at the same amount in hand, even though he started and went first. So I drop out a Soul Seeker and kill his Alden again, healing up some more health. And of course that's all I can do because I only have 5 resources, but I do have a second shot, so I hit his hero and kill his weapon. But that of course lets him draw an extra one, and now he draws at the beginning of his turn and drops out another throwing knife. Boom! And that's going to help him wear away at my weapon, which I actually no it doesn't, because I don't get to defend, so it doesn't help him wear away at his weapon. I don't know what I'm saying. But attacking with Puin will let him wear away at that, but I will get to heal up some health by killing that Puin. And for my next drop, I have a Puin and a Bazaar. He's obviously getting way more draw than me at this point, and so a Bazaar, even though it's going to let him draw first, is still going to help me get better cards. Like I said, he's now at 5 in his hand, plus the Bazaar pops him to 7. He was at 5 before the Bazaar draw, just because of that throwing knife. So, yeah, their Rogue's card draw is terrible. Her throwing knife is actually somewhat decent. The problem is if you don't have board control, he's had board control, so he has the luxury of attacking my hero with that. If you don't have board control, it's really tough because you want to be attacking your allies with it. So I do go ahead and use Gwen here to kill off his Aeon with my latest Soul Seeker. I think that's my third one though, so it's a little worrisome. But I go ahead and attack his hero with my Puin. He's at 17 health. I'm right around there too. That does kill his throwing knife. I'm at 18 health. Actually, it'll be 17 next turn because I'm poisoned. So we're both at about the same health, but he does get a couple allies here. But I'm feeling pretty comfortable. And he makes it so I can't target his allies until the end of his next turn, and he can't attack with them either. And normally, I think Laylo is a bad card. I don't think it should be in a deck, but he plays a Stop Thief and kills my bow. But what it does help him with here is he retreats one of my guys and Jasmine's the other. So normally Laylo is bad because you pop out allies and you play Laylo so that they can't attack you. That way, you know, let's say me as a Gwen player has board control. I've got a bunch of guys out. If he plays any allies, I'm going to immediately just like kill him. So he plays lay low, and that way all his allies are protected. The problem is then he can't attack on his turn either, and so I'm just going to kill him the next turn. It doesn't do any good. But since he had both a retreat and Jasmine's ability, then the lay low lets him essentially clear off my side of the board, and now even though his allies can't attack the next turn, it's not going to give me a chance to retaliate back too much either, because now his opponent or his allies will have the first attack. I go ahead and drop out some arrows, a poison one on Jasmine and a flaming one on Nightshade. Oh, pro tip here. I'm going to pause, and because not everyone will realize this, and I see deck lists that has like 4 flaming arrows in them. Play 2 of each. Play 2 poison and 2 flaming. If you are ever in the situation where you need to play double arrows on someone, you'd rather have 1 of each in hand, because you can't play, as far as I know, I haven't tested it, but I'm 95% sure you can't play 2 flaming arrows on the same target. So if they've got a Raven or an Aeon out that you just need to take out right away, and you've got 2 flaming arrows in your hand, too bad, you can only play 1. But if you've got a flaming arrow and a poison arrow, boom, stack both of them on there and pile on the damage at 4 per turn. So, you know, little tip there when you're building your deck, don't play 4 poison arrows, or don't play 4 flaming arrows, play 2 of each. It's much, much better. In this case, if I had 2 flaming arrows there, it wouldn't have made a difference because I put them on different allies. But oh, and he plays Gravedigger's Cloak and steals a card. And then he uses Jasmine's ability on one Puin and then kills the other. So right here, this Gravedigger's Cloak is going to be kind of important. That was the first card he stole. Let's keep track of that. 1 card. Because he's only at 9 cards in his deck. I'm at 19, so he's going to get a lot closer to decking out than I will. His 9 plus 3 in hand is 12 minus 7 cap. That means he only has 5 cards to kill me before he starts taking draw damage. So he does steal a card. That gives him an extra card to use, and he once again has some board control with that. The Jasmine's going to die next turn because she has the poison arrow on her, but he's got the Alden out. I do get a Beetle Demon Bow out and my own Jasmine, and I use the Beetle Demon Bow on his hero because I can't kill that Alden. I don't want to take too much damage myself. I'm down to 16. So I just hit his hero twice with my rapid fire. I also kind of want to wear out that Gravedigger's Cloak because that can be quite annoying. And then I go ahead and turn my bow into an ally. I don't want to see another Stop Thief. I'd rather have the ally to try and get board control. So he steals another card. That's card number 2. He tosses out a throwing knife, which he poisons, and attacks my Beetle Demon Bow with it. And Beetle Demon Bow has a bug where it doesn't show the right health on it sometimes, but yeah, see, it shows that lovely 2. But essentially, Alden hit it for 3, and the knife hit it for 1. That's 4. And then the poison should kill it next turn, 5. And he retreats the Jasmine back to my hand and tosses a flaming arrow onto Puin. So my Puin dies, my Beetle Demon Bow dies, and once again he's cleared the board. I retreat back his Alden, and I drop my own Jasmine and Puin. If you notice here, he goes ahead and steals the third card with Gravedigger's Cloak and plays a Flaming Arrow. If you notice here, he's cleared the board several times. If rogues don't have a board clear card, but he's been pretty effective in playing these stolen arrows, in poisoning my guys with his knives, in using retreats. There's been several times where I've had 2 or even 3 allies out, and by my turn they're all gone. He plays the lay low, and then he goes Jasmine 1, retreats the other. There's been multiple times where he's just been able to really effectively deal with my allies. I was kind of surprised at that playing this game. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to cast it, is how well he's doing. So he's got another Rain Delay, which is not a good card usually. It delays again, and he does hit my hero, which lets him draw 1. It's usually not a good card because it delays it through your turn too, and it just keeps a tempo on their side. I drop out a Jasmine and a Flaming Arrow to his Alden, which means his Alden's going to die, because this turn he takes 2, and then by next turn he'll die. So Rain Delay is usually there he steals, what was that, a 4th card? And he plays a Stop Thief on my Bazaar, which is a great play for him because it's going to, 1, stop him from taking too much draw damage. He's down to 2 only in his deck. And 2, he's got 5 now, but he had 6 cards in his hand when he played that, and I've got 1. So he's got major card advantage. It's going to stop him from taking draw damage, and hopefully he can just keep me not having very many good cards in my hand, kill off my guys. He does go ahead and attack my Jasmine, and that poisons her, so she's going to die fairly shortly. And one of them dies because she had an arrow on him. I drop out an Alden, and I had a bad Santa, so luckily I can draw, and that fills up his hand now, which means he is at, as soon as he starts playing cards, he's going to start taking draw damage. And I do finally get rid of that Gravedigger's Cloak, and then the arrow, and then I attack him with Jasmine and Puin, and on his turn the arrow kills the Alden. And at this point he's pretty much done. He's at 7 health to my 12. He does have a nice Soul Seeker that he stole, so he's going to be able to kill a guy and heal up 3. But he's going to take a draw damage when he attacks with that Soul Seeker because he has no cards in hand that he can, or he has no cards in deck that he can draw. So here I attack his hero, and notice he's at 10 health. He's hit down to 7, and then he takes 1 because as soon as he retaliate attacks back, his hero says, "Oh, you have to draw 1." So he tries to draw 1, and oh, you don't have 1, you take a draw damage. So that's the danger of Serena, is once you're decked, she takes extra damage when she's doing damage, and that's a little rough. And that knocks him down from 10 down to 2. My Beetle Demon Bow effectively does 4 because of that, and then Alden finishes him off. So I do manage to win the game, and with a decent amount of health left, 12. It wasn't like a super close game, but it was a fairly interesting game in that he was able to effectively control the board using a lot of his cards. He was able to draw quite a bit. It did help getting those throwing knives early on, but if you notice the turn I played that Bazaar, he was already at 5 cards in hand to my 0 when I played that Bazaar. And the Bazaar capped him up to 7, but it's like he was at 5 to my 0. That's a pretty effective draw. Now, it's not reliable, because like I said, a lot of times you're going to need to be attacking their guys on board instead of the hero, meaning you're not going to get to draw. But that was actually one of the more interesting games I had played against a rogue, one of the more unique games, and I thought my opponent played really well. I think he was rated about 220 at the time of this game, so obviously a competent player. He was playing well. The deck, is holding them back a little since rogues aren't top tier, but it was a game I enjoyed enough that I wanted to commentate it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Promise I'm not going to do any more rogues for a while, but thanks for listening, guys, and I'll catch you next time.